But again, you see, I was lucky. Well, I mean, I was able to wipe away the blood, and well, after about 2 days, I could drink, and then to eat, and then to move around, and after about I suppose about 10 days, I could move my fingers. Well, just a little, but well, I knew I wasn't going to lose my hand. Oh, thank you.
What about your mind, Mr. Povey?
Oh, well, it was like a piece of string, you know, stretched. Have you ever caught a 50-pound fish on a 5-pound line? Oh, it became more and more taut, and my companions, they became more and more fantastic.
This is General Blood, yeah? Sing, is that you? Look here, Sing. I want you to go out and arrest Lieutenant Coven. Yes, I know he's filming in the Sinai, man. You'll have to hire a camel too, won't you? Well, just follow the camel shit in the sand, man. I know it's dark. I've also got a bloody window. Use your nose till the sun comes up. Yes, I know you're a hill people, Sing, but a camel's like a mountain goat. Just think bigger, man. How will you recognize him? Well, he's an English officer like you. Yes, remember your father in Kashmir? He was a bloody tit like you. Now look here, Sing. I want Coben, and I want him tonight. Now go get him, now! Hannibal never had a film unit. Napoleon never had a film unit. Not even Rommel had a film unit. So why the hell does the War Office send me a film unit? Oh. Oh, my seed. You thought that I had forgotten you. Oh, God. Look, soil. Don't worry, I'll soon have you covered up. There. Are you warm? Oh, thirsty. There, drink. Drink. Oh, please grow. Please. Oh, please.
I was supposed to arrest Coburn. I forgot Coburn. I must get Coburn. But I need a camera now. I need a darn camera. Hello, camera. Come, chappie. We must arrest Coburn. Golly, how do you get on top of these things now? Wait, I got a book here somewhere. The Serviceman's Guide on How to Mount a Hell of a Tall Camel by Admiral V.C. the Killer Rawlings. First, the camel must be reduced to the kneeling position. Okay, Camel, kneel down, please, chappie. Come, kneel down. Oh, golly, this Muslim camel. Hello, Mecca. Okay. Come on, kneel down, chappie. Come, kneel down. Wait a minute, he doesn't speak English, this camel. I got another book here somewhere. The Serviceman's Guide on Some Useful Islamic Type Camel Mounting Phrases. Oh, by Admiral V.C. the Killer Rawlings. To kneel, okay. Kaduda-dida. You horrible desert rat of a green, slimy bits and pieces. Be warned, chap, I come from a longish line of deadly killers. Wait, I got another book for types like you. The Serviceman's Guide on How to Deal with Meddlesome Camels by Admiral V.C. the Killer Rawlings. Oh, the Persian Hobbles. Be warned, this is for extreme cases. See diagram. Oh, it's a piece about porcupine, man. Come on, Camely, we got work to do, chappie. Come. Right. Right, Camel. To all purposes and intentions, you are utterly and completely demobilized. But how do you get on top of these? See, man, you're forgetting. I was the Sandhurst pole vaulting champion. One flick of my flag and I'm up on your back. Oh, golly, this chappie higher than the Himalayas, man. Come, chap, we must get Coburn. Come on, chappie, get Coburn. Come on, mush. Please, chappie, look, if you don't move, I'll have to chop you into 100. Golly, I forgot the handbrake now. Oh, how do you get off these things now? Wait, I got a book here somewhere. The Serviceman's Guide on How to Get Off a Hell of a Tall Camel by the son of Admiral V.C. the Killer Rawlings. Just jump, okay? Right. Watch out, chappie, I'm a killer, don't play with me. Come on, we must go. We must get Coburn, chappie. Come on, don't waste time. Yeah! Mr. Camel, please, you're standing on my hand, man. Please. How do you say reverse in Islamic now? Wait, I got a plan. No good, Lady Camel. Please, get off. All right, Mr. Camel. I will count to 3, and then I will have to break your leg into a multitude of parts and pieces. 1, 2, 2.5, 3. So early. I couldn't sleep. I've got to be in court this morning. Thing. He caught Coburn. He's being court-martialed. But I've got to give evidence. Lieutenant Coburn, you are accused of misuse of His Majesty's resources for personal gain. Now, this is a crime, Coburn, in times of war, paralleled with treason and punishable by death before a firing squad. How do you plead? Lieutenant Coburn, I was asked to make a friggin' film. Is not a plea. You will answer either guilty or not guilty. Not guilty. General Blood, officers of the court, Lieutenant Coburn's entire defense is centered around his supposed misunderstanding of his general's orders. Your general's orders, Coburn, were to produce a documentary film introducing His Majesty's forces to the local customs of Palestine. Now, this is an order which you deliberately distorted to produce a fictional commentary on the sexual repertoire of Rayada, the lily of Jerusalem. There is no way, gentlemen, that this film could possibly be shown to a body of men as upstanding as those serving His Majesty here in Palestine. This pornography, Coburn, has not been equalled since that
upstart of a coal miner's son, shamed our nation with the exploits of Lady Chatterley, a book that I was forced to reread in preparation for the trial. Now this, accompanied with several viewings of your Rayada, the Lily of Jerusalem, have convinced me, gentlemen, that to take this creature beyond the barracks and to have him shot would be to show a small mercy. So, General, I call my first witness, Corporal Povey. It was Corporal Reginald Povey's unfortunate task to play Harold opposite and largely on top of Rayada, the Lily of Jerusalem. Call Corporal Povey. Call Corporal Povey. Hey up, hey up, hey up, hey up, hey up.
But I am Corporal Povey. Corporal Povey of the bedding corps, sir? No, they were very kind to me in the hospital, sir. Oh, that's most thoughtful of you. Thank you very much, General. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Good morning, sir. How did it all begin? Well, there was a notice on the mess board, sir, requesting all soldiers with professional acting experience to report immediately to room 104, sir. Corporal Povey of the bedding corps, sir. Experience? Well, sir, I began my training under Cecily Loams in London, sir. She prepared me for my entrance through the hallowed portals of the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, sir. Then followed 2 years of touring with a group of Irish players, and then seasons with Harrogate, Leeds, and Oxford, sir. Well, it was while I was at Oxford that Sir Noel Coward discovered me, sir. Can I act? Well, I can fill a costume, sir. I can fill a stage. I have filled auditoriums, sir. But as to whether I can act or not, that is for both the Times and my public to decide. Thank you very much, sir. Well, sir, if you insist, I will do the final scene from King Lear, where he is carrying the dead body of his beloved daughter Cordelia in his arms. Ooh. 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 Something more popular. Oh, well, what about the prologue to Henry V, sir? Well, what else is there, sir? Thank you very much. Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heavens of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then would the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the pot of Mars, and at his heels raced in like hounds would... I haven't finished, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Well, I left, sir, fearing the greatest defeat of my career. You see, when you are an actor, to be deprived of the stage is like, well, it's like being told that there is no God, and to believe it, sir. You see, to be rejected by one of the greats is no dreadful thing, but to fail to even move so humble and unworthy a member of our profession as Lieutenant Coburn is a sad indication of the fate awaiting us proper actors when we return from the war. Well then, sir, much to my surprise, I received orders from Lieutenant Coburn to stand by at 500 hours for transport to Jerusalem, that my leave of absence had been organized, sir, and I was to wear civilian dress, sir. Harold, well, I think that Harold was a sort of a Latin of some nature, sir. You see, I arrived in a rather nice three-piece grey herringbone woolen suit, sir, cut by one of the great masters of Savile Row, pearl grey silk shirt, aubergine tie. Well, he rushed me off and crammed me into an off-white crumpled linen two-piece, sir, with a black cotton open-necked shirt and the swine, sir, blue slip-on shoes, sir. Well, it was impossible to find out. You see, there was no script, sir, and when I arrived, Lieutenant Coburn was deeply involved in the auditioning of the various parts of Rayada, sir. No, there were at least 10 Rayadas to my knowledge. You see, they collectively made up the Lily of Jerusalem, sir. You mean here, sir? Oh, no, I don't think that I could, sir. Every detail, yes, sir. In the name of justice, quite. This is very difficult for me, sir, but... Well, in the first shot of the day, Oh, yes, Well, it was a wide shot, sir. Ah. Now, I arrived in a long, black, sleek automobile. It was on loan from the American ambassador. He was also involved in the auditioning of the various parts of Rayada. Well, the gloom of the alleyway seemed to lure me in as I slicked back my hair, striking a pose worthy of a contemporary Mercutio, and then, with a swirl, it had to hit the grace of Gilgood's great Iago. I vanished through an Eastern-style doorframe. Now, in the next shot, I strike a pose that, well, Astaire himself has used, sir. Ah, but it was a mid-shot. And I turned with a cold, slow, a James Cagney schmoder. And I took in the exotic environment, allowing it to grow from deep within me, till suddenly it burst forth into a sort of Gene Kelly glow, sir. Well, at this moment I knew that I had reached a new high in my profession. I knew that that day I could do anything that any director dared to throw at me. But I am sad to say that I found out later, when I saw the rough cut, that in fact this scene had found its way onto the cutting room floor and had been replaced by a scene with Sergeant Jones playing a gypsy with a violin behind a bead curtain, sir. He held the bow rather as he does the soup ladle. N'importe. Now, the next shot of my discovering Rayada for the first time. Now, she was languishing on a chaise longue, draped only in yashmak and cloth of gossamer. The dimples on her Raphaelitian buttocks reminded me of the buttons they use in the upholstery of leather furniture. Now, she turns and discovers me for the first time. And here, sir, we bring in Rayada number 2. Oh, well, you see, Rayada number 1 had a rather fierce squint, sir, so she had to be jettisoned. You see, the next shot was an extreme close-up of eyes only, and Rayada number 2 had eyes as deep as the desert night. But this was only revealed when Private Regaily, he was on makeup that day. Well, he had plucked away her eyebrows, which were worthy of a physics professor. And so we dispensed with Rayada number 2. Oh, not quite. She was the one who wasn't very happy with army pay. She hit Lieutenant Coburn, who produced a Webley pistol, sir, and fired it into the air, dispensing the ancient plaster ceiling and Rayada number 2, sir. So we went on to Rayada number 3. Now, this was a very wide shot, I'm afraid, sir, yes. Rayada number 3 was caught reclining, modestly, well, covering her womanhood, but unfortunately, due to, well, an excess in the allotted areas, she was unable to keep all things from all men, so to speak. So she had to be jettisoned. But Rayada 3B was far more modest in the matter of melons, but unfortunately, due to, well, an excess of pubic growth, she was sort of unable to keep all things from all men. Well, again, a dilemma. Private Regaily was sent for and plucked bravely at the offending area, but he received a right hook worthy of Joe Louis, and so we lost Rayada 3B and Private Regaily. But 3C was perfect, proportionately, I mean, you know, in the matter of hands, boobs, and bumpsy daisy. And so, at last, we cut back to me, looking longingly, and a close-up of my removing my blue slip-on shoes. But suddenly, I became suspicious that the script was not above board. I mean, it certainly wasn't a documentary, but well, I was persuaded to continue. Rank, you understand, and, well, a rather nasty Webley pistol. And so we went on to Riada number 4. Now this was a close-up of the mouth only, which was just as well. You see, the lady in question was about 4 foot high and completely bald. But she did have teeth, and that was the point. You see, this was the removing of the yashmak scene. But she didn't employ any sort of classical abandon, no cheeky tugs of mischief. She chewed on the one corner till it vanished completely. And then she spat it at me as a sort of final act of allurement. And then she choked. And for all I know, she died. They removed her from the set on a stretcher. But as the Americans say, the shot was in the can. So we went on to my removing my jacket. Well, I remembered Nanny. I folded it neatly over my arm, over the back of the chair, and, well, Lieutenant Coburn had what I think is known as an artistic temperament. He sort of frothed at the mouth and screamed things like, "I want passion! Give me fun and abundance!" So, well, on the retake, I gave him lots of passion and, well, abandon. We were on to Riada number 5, Bristol's Riada. Now, she was massaging her ample chest, rather as a Sicilian might prepare pasta. And this produces in me the need to remove my black cotton shirt. This time I remembered all that passion and abandon. And suddenly the crew burst into spontaneous applause. And the whole ghastly reality of what I was doing poured down on me. I mean, all those years of voice work, of diction and articulation, phrasing and flow, subtlety and nuance, of caring about my art, were vanishing into the depths of a black forest. Oh, and it was her black forest. You see, Riada number 6 was, oh, well, she was massaging her. Well, at this point, I was violently ill, all over the cameraman and his buzzing bell and howl. Well, the next day we began with my removing my trousers. Oh, yes, a wide shot, sir. How did you know? Oh, I see. Well, I noticed that Private Regalia was back with us in a pair of dark glasses, preparing the foot of an Amazon. Now, this was Riada number 7, and I was to get on to her in the next scene. And I mean that quite literally. You see, now, in this scene, I was required to leap, rather as a rugby winger might at a looming try-line in a rugby international. Now that is an act I would have thought guaranteed to quench the ardor of the most amorous of women. But I must give number 7 her due. You see, I leapt and I landed. And, well, she backed up with it all. She sort of made a clutch for my ghoulies. Well, I warned her, you have been chosen for the skill of your feet, not your hands. And it was in the manner of feet that she was something of a master. She could perform feats with her foot. Well, she could fiddle with her Watson like an 8-handed bilateral multilingual master. You see, I leapt and I landed. And, well, I can only say that this ridiculous form of eroticism has only ever produced in me the most... This is her foot, you understand. The most dreadful fit of the... Justice, quite so, sir. Well, the fit of the giggles, sir. Well, it was on take 24 that I finally got it right. You see, I ran, and I leapt, and I landed, and I bit deeply into her shoulder. Well, this contained my giggles, you see, and it contained her activities. And so the face-to-face encounter was over, and they wheeled in Riada number 8, chosen for the lusciousness of her buttocks. They bore no resemblance to any of the predecessors. She lies down upon her face. Now, this is an extreme close-up of the, aforementioned area. Now, in this scene, I was required to, I don't know how to say this, sir. Yes. Well, in this scene, I can't, sir. Please, Justice, quite so. Well, I was required to, I had to kiss her ass, sir. Well, I turned, I looked, and there, staring at me, upstage left was a budding boil. Well, again, I was violently ill, but this time the camera crew had thoughtfully placed a basin between myself and them. I filled it, and I advanced on Lieutenant Coburn, and I poured it all over his head. And then I stood back, awaiting the consequences, remembering that he was an officer, and I a humble corporal, and he had a bloody great Webley pistol. Well, he took it very well. He dashed off and freshened up. And then he led in his revenge. Yes, sir, on a lead, Rayada number 9. I said, what am I supposed to do? And he said, don't worry, leave it to her. And they let her off. I say, do you mind? Go away. Look, I'm not used to this sort of thing. Go away. Get away. Look, I don't do this sort of thing. Go away. Did I suffer any ill effects? Well, I've been in hospital for 6 weeks with a very ominous rash, sir. But during that period, the lacerations on my back did heal, and when my faith in God returned. But I'm afraid I will never act again. If this is the new theater for the new world, then indeed I cannot act. Did you enjoy that? Thirsty? Well, here. They shot Coburn the next morning, you know. And the general, he took the film back to England after the war. Bought himself a little theatre in Soho and made a bloody fortune. Grow. I keep hearing cars. Please, what do you want?
Go!
What do you mean, go?
I said go! You are free to go! Go, man!
You mean I'm really...
Go!
Oh!
Mkate.
Oh!
Yeah, Mkate.
Please, wait, I won't be a minute, please, wait. I won't go. I won't just go! I won't go! I won't go! I won't!
Thank you very much for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. Are there any questions?
Oh, yes.
Did you know the Americans are thinking of making a film, Mr. Povey?
Oh, how do they know what happened?
They've approached Paul Newman.
Oh.
But didn't you demand an explanation, Mr. Povey?
Yes, well, I waited 2 days, but they didn't send me any food. Not even my potty. I had to slip out at night and relieve myself in some gum trees, and well, on the second night, when I returned, the door was locked. You see, the kit's storeroom now has a new occupant.